Yeah?
Yeah.
Did she behave herself?
As far as I know, she's in first class. I was like,
Oh, okay. You flying back from Seattle?
yeah, I think that's what it was. I think. Well, actually, no, I think it was on the way down. So it was from
Okay.
Vegas to Seattle. Yeah. On the way back, it's up from Vegas. It's a great place. They have one outside of LA, just 5 hours. Yeah, it's great.
I'm waiting for the. I guess I don't think it came out this year. Maybe it didn't. The like non-stop from here to Boston.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You go to lots of
I've got family back there, and so I go. My dad lives in Maine every summer. I take my kids to see them. Right. And I was thinking of midnight, like the layover in Seattle, but I was fine.
Yeah.
But it's still like dragging at 6 and
they are open. They are the house guys can fly. My wife's good. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry for not so much here.
It's okay.
All right. How are you?
hang in there.
Let's come up and say good morning, but all right.
Yeah, yours pops in. I ordered it.
So I need to do I need to send it up to Bluetooth.
You'll just need to Bluetooth your keyboard.
Okay.
Just have a touch and talk.
Okay.
I haven't connected your keyboard. Yeah, everything else comes with it.
Oh, that's my 16-year-old. I'll do that.
Perfect. Yeah. That's your Apple ID password.
Okay.
That's to get into the iPad.
Okay.
And then you should just really go out with your door your email. But just in case someone's a password, that's it right there.
Right. Yeah.
There's that. All things considered, he's doing.
Is that a good share?
Oh, yeah.
So
One
I
of
can
the
get
other things,
that.
write your
Text or,
file.
text. I just need to get something. So,
Yeah, it's something. You know, the other part of my mother died. And so I feel very blessed and grateful to have it at this time. You know, I was,
bring attention or discredit. I signed out once I make the decisions, and then I'll tell her later on. Exactly.
so I turned 52.
Hey, sir, how are you?
I'm up here with the big
All
thing.
right, yeah, you're up in the big table.
Just for a little
Adult table.
But yeah, just temporarily. Because but no, when I was in the military, I'm trying to go out weekends.
That's like in my life. It's like I don't know where.
Oh, actually, no, you're in the second one. So, and I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
So you have to yell at me. Yeah. That's right. There's the golf course.
I honestly have no idea what you're going to say. I know that I think the microphone.
And I know Mike Molesky got that. Herb Bishop. I like her.
Yeah, he's a PhD in psychology.
I get along with her really well.
He used to do, he used to do, kind of funny shit. Like, something's going on. He'll give me somebody. It's something that I would do. Psychology. Okay. Which is kind of cool. And we meet, we don't meet, we have 100
I love it.
every Wednesday.
I love it.
And he's there.
Love it. I'm gonna get there.
You should.
I'm getting there soon.
9 o'clock every Wednesday.
Is there
No, like, they run.
It's that Jim, I'm sorry, that's the one kind of Jim's last name. Does he come to that?
From over.
He lives right across, his house is right across the street from Public Works office. He's 86 or 87. Oh, John, I'm absolutely
We actually have guys that come from shit. All of a sudden,
yeah.
Recording in progress.
it started over from the late night party. And he did it on Wednesday because Tuesday so I would come in and
Have chats.
it's like that. Yeah. It's like, okay. This is what we need to do.
All right. You get all help me, right? And then some. No, I got
But,
it.
I mean,
I can download it.
and he used to show all the time. And never answered my show. But mostly it was just like, one of them how best was and I think he was 95 years old or 93, 96 years old. He was angry. Funny. He goes, you don't tell me in high school I was not this was Sure.
How in depth do we want to go tonight?
We'll open it up for questions. What I'll do is I'll say, hey, there's been some questions that were brought up about, employees and operations and let's.
I think it's more of a informational thing. Just let people know how many people we've had golfing.
I haven't had time to go
what's
get
going
more.
on.
like $12,000 worth of business this weekend, right? Is that what I heard?
That's cute.
No, isn't it? Wasn't it?
Yeah, no.
Or maybe that was just one day then. Okay, John told me.
Yeah, I mean, it's something
Try like 198,000 this month.
Yeah, see, that's great news. That's the kind of stuff.
of course, the big
You know,
and the big
just
thing
keep
is
it.
that obviously the big thing is a big fish project.
472 rounds this weekend. That's just Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, really.
See, that's
It's just that kind of stuff.
yeah.
Okay.
Just to
I
keep
mean,
it.
yeah, just so you know, like if I do get asked questions, it's gonna.
Okay, apparently YouTube can hear you, so stop talking.
What?
YouTube land can hear you,
Oh, good. That's fine.
so you're all aware.
Anyway, so yeah.
Okay,
So
just letting you know.
it's just a
Committee of the whole.
Any questions that are asked of me that are going to be perceived as defamation or slander, I will not answer. Okay. Just so you know. Okay.
Probably sounded crankier than I meant to sound.
I don't need it. No need to.
Commissioner?
I'd like to call the May 26th City Council meeting to order, please. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Mayor Cooper,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Alcantara,
Here.
Councilmember Allen,
Here.
Councilmember Carrington,
Here.
Councilmember Collins,
Here.
Councilmember Graham,
Here.
Councilmember Mosier. Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. And again, a reminder before we get started, if you have a cell phone, please make sure that your cell phones are silenced. On the council, if you need to take a break, let me know and we will do that. Maggie, would you like to lead us in the pledge, please? Thank you. Thank you. Back to the council wishes on approval of the agenda.
Move to approve?
Second.
Are there any discussion, any?
I would
Yes,
like to
yes, ma'am.
move item off of the consent agenda, item number J and H.
H?
And move that to the, I apologize, and move it to item I for action memoranda.
Items H and J?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk?
Hold on, Madam Clerk's making a note. Okay.
As amended.
This is to approve the agenda as amended. Councilmember Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosier,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Alcantara,
Yes.
Councilmember Collins,
Yes.
Councilmember Allen,
Yes.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Mayor Cooper.
Yes,
It is unanimous and approved.
thank you. Moving on to communication appearance request, the Palmer Museum History and Art update. Mary Jo, I'm absolutely ready for you.
Do what you need to do. You'll probably need to turn the microphone on. Just hold the button at the bottom till the green light comes on. The green light by the truck. Tap on it, see if it. Oh, me here.
You got it.
Good evening. I am Mary Jo Parks. I am the president of the board for the Palmer Museum of History and Art. I have been with the Palmer Museum for 7 years now, and it's been an extraordinary, great opportunity, and so much that I've learned about our community, about what the museum can and does do, as well as all of the other things that we are responsible for. I realize tonight that many of you have not heard us speak before. So we're gonna kind of do an overview for sure. We are the representatives of the city for both the Visitor Information Center and for the Palmer Museum. We're in the log cabin. We are the first stop for many of the community members, for many of the visitors to the community, as well as a place for community members to come and learn more about our history and continue to help us preserve that. With me tonight, we have Pat Chesbro. Raise your hand. Pat has been with the museum well over 12 years. That's about as far back as she wants to mention. And then Pam Meekin is also on the board, and she is a lifelong Valley girl who has brought amazing information to us. With me also is our new executive director, newish. She joined us a year ago, Delaney Nathrop, and she's going to give you the overview about our events for the past year.
Thanks, Mary Jo. So in the annual report, I go over a couple things about visitor services and what we do at the museum. So I'm just going to touch on some things briefly. So in 2025, we welcomed over 30,000 visitors through our doors, which was amazing. 406 tour buses. Of those 30,000 visitors, almost 10,000 of those came via bus. Half of our visitors are from in-state. According to some statistics that we have, 16% of those in-state are from Anchorage, 16% are from Fairbanks, and then the other amount are from out of state. We've done a lot of outreach to our business members this year. Our visitor staff had 2 weeks of training this summer, so we went around downtown Palmer, visited businesses, other tourism operators, and learned all about what they do and what they offer for tourists in the summer season. We also do marketing for the city of Palmer through tour guides and visitor information pamphlets. We do in print and travel media through social media and other websites. We also create and provide a visitor map. This year we made a new visitor map, and we'll be looking at making a larger one in 2027. I do want to remind you that in the packet there's a QR code that links to a video collab that we did with a travel blogger. It's a 30-minute long video that talks about all the opportunities visitors have here in Palmer and what they can do. So that's our visitor services side of things. On the museum side, we offer people digitized resources from our collection. We do that through means of blog posts as well as through our Matanuska Valley Historical Photo Project, which showcases about 1,200 of the 14,000 images that we have in our collection, and that continues to grow. We have over 3,000 objects, and some of those are showcased in our exhibits that are upstairs in the log cabin. We're currently redoing one of those exhibits, and that should be done by the 1st of June. And then we also have our Matanuska Valley Colony Compendium, which I talked a little bit about last fall. That was a research project that was done with support from the State Library and Archives. It's essentially an encyclopedia that gathers information from resources across the United States about the colonist families and brings them to one place. So you can learn tons about different families, what they were doing before, during, and after the project. All of this information and these resources are a part of a new traveling exhibit this year that will be showcased during Colony Days and debuted. It's an 8-panel traveling exhibit that discusses highlighted stories from the first year of the Colony Project. We're really excited to showcase that. And we do plan to have that travel to maybe different high schools or libraries or other museums across the state. We also have the opportunity to collaborate for the America 250 exhibit. It was Alaska's Field of Dreams. That was about baseball history in the state of Alaska. That exhibit is in Willow right now, and then it'll make its way up to Fairbanks. And it will return for the state fair. So that's exciting, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And I do want to thank you for the Community Council grant towards the new permanent exhibit. Your support will go towards having a community conversation that should happen in September with our exhibit designers. So community members will have an opportunity to input what that permanent exhibit will showcase. Yeah, so I'm really excited for that. Those are just the brief things that I wanted to touch on in our annual report. So I think Mary Jo's going to finish off the conversation. Thanks.
So we've been doing the Museum and Visitor Information Center for over 10 plus years, even more. And we have found a number of things that we've been able to excel at and things that we would like to improve. One of the things Delaney and I took time to do is go back and see what's happening in the marketing. Who knows about Palmer, Alaska? You know, at one time we were the best kept secret. And when we did our research, we found that there is very little video or very little YouTube information out there, which has us concerned, and we are working to improve that. One of the things that Delaney was able to do is get the YouTube video created, and it's well worth your time to go and see what an amazing job. It's a half-hour video that talks about Palmer. We are trying, and we hope with your help and others, to actually bring more people to Palmer, to help people understand what an amazing place we are. Every visitor that comes just is taken aback by how beautiful our area is and the rich history. So we need more help in those areas. The work that we do is in the log cabin. There are about 600 square feet to present everything that we do about Palmer. Needless to say, that's not big enough. We would definitely like to look at expanding at some point down the road because, again, we are finding that because of Delaney's work, because of things that have been made available to us, we're working with other museums. We are talking because of the compendium she put together. We've come to realize there's a lot of rich history being saved in faraway lands like Kansas. If you're from Kansas, I don't mean that as a dig, but in far away, there's things, potential to be brought back to our community and shared with the people here. And I think the last thing we would very much, one of our major goals as a board is to get our own community to come and visit, to come and be part of the many things we do. So we've been doing a lot more programs and made it a lot more available. So with that, we hope that at some point you would have time to come and visit with us. Delaney will give you the grand tour, and we hope that you'll be able to come to some of the events that we have coming up. We did give you, out of the 163 pages that you have tonight, we did give you the annual report as well in writing with a lot more information. So we thank you. Do you have any questions for us?
Yes, ma'am. Could you talk a little bit about your Arts in the Garden, please?
So the Arts in the Garden Fair is going to be on July 18th. It's from 10 to 4. It's a collaboration between us and the Palmer Arts Council. We have about 50 vendors this year. That's almost double the amount of vendors that we had last year. There's going to be food trucks, live music. We're really excited for it. I think the community is really excited. And so that happens every year. and we continue to hope that it grows.
And you're gonna have that, is it gonna be in the pavilion parking lot and the grass, and where else is it gonna be?
That's still to be determined. We're pending with the library construction, depending on where we're gonna set up in the quad, or if it'll be across the street like Friday Fling. But a lot of the main vendors will still be around the museum and near the garden.
One other quick question. You have bikes that are there, do you rent, and they're for rent, and do they get rented out often?
I would say they do to a lot of independent travelers and locals. We definitely need to focus more on marketing efforts, and that is definitely part of, the funds towards marketing is quite a bit. But we would like to advocate for more of that bicycle tourism. It's just a different way to see Palmer. Oh, Backcountry Bike and Ski donated those bikes to us about 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mary Jo, Delaney, thanks so much for being here. I think you guys do amazing work, and it's an amazing board that you have there, and keep up the good work. I'm curious on your visitor stats. It just fascinates me that 2025, of course, a very robust year, and 2023 a pretty strong year. Do you know what happened in 2024 that caused number of visitors to be that low?
I think that those numbers are dependent on local visitation. So I know last year with the Trick or Treat Street, we saw over 2,000 people come through our door.
Nice.
So that definitely spikes things up here and there.
Thank you.
Can I also mention,
Yes.
that's the year of a lot of construction on the highway, so people weren't coming our way.
And were buses not coming your way either that year because of that construction, or?
I think there was less.
Less.
Or I know there was less, but yeah, the road construction certainly played a role in some of our numbers.
Okay, one more, sir. Thank you. And you guys mentioned that, kind of the tiny footprint you have to work with in the 600 square feet for the exhibits, but I don't really see where you say, hey, what we need is to double that size, to triple that size, to 50% again that size. And it takes a smart guy like Mr. Billifer here maybe to come and see what you guys need. But maybe you have a proposal already in place that says if we could only have X tens of thousands of dollars, we could make it a 1,200 square foot place.
I don't have an exact number. I think it's worth having conversations about. I think there's a need for a lot more exhibit space. This last year, our traveling exhibits tend to cover our permanent exhibits, which people tend to be disappointed about. Our indoor programming for this America 250 baseball exhibit had to be held outdoors because we don't have enough space inside to hold a program. The same went for our Chickaloon traveling exhibit this last winter, and it was very difficult. It was cold temperatures outside, people coming in and out the door, standing next to the door to try to hear the speaker talk. And our art gallery space is something that we would love to have as well. Right now, our art gallery is right next to the restrooms as you make your way out towards the garden. And there's really not a safe space for people's art to be held and shown. It does good for what it is currently. However, it would be really amazing to see a professional art gallery in Palmer.
I can tell you that we had an initial conversation I did with the board about having an additional building there. We didn't necessarily talk space or anything, but knowing the need that they were saying, like, for example, 40,000 pictures and all this stuff. I don't know if you've been there. It's all virtually it's all downstairs. It's in the basement, which there's no access to. And so my initial thought was that we should build another building, similar log building, and then move all that stuff out. Yes, ma'am.
We also feel that if we had that space, we could help the other community members and organizations be able to have their programs and use it as a community resource.
Yes, ma'am.
With the last time I think you guys talked, there was some discussion a little bit about the Mat-Su Visitor Center that's going in. Have you guys been able to make some communication and some contact there and get our information up there?
Yeah. I am in regular communication with Casey over at CBB. I just went and toured last week. They're still in the middle of construction for their exhibit space as well. And so we're in constant communication. He's giving me information, helping, and so they're still working out their hours over there at the visitor center. I think when things start getting up and running, we'll start to have more conversation about how to get people into Palmer.
Good job.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'd also like to just thank you guys for your work and the others sitting here. I think it's great that our community's made such an effort to record our history and make it accessible both to people here and people visiting. I think it gives our community that much more of an identity. I was curious on how you're counting the numbers as far as folks visiting, because I know I've kind of been in part of events, and there might have been like a place to sign in, but I don't think I did, that kind of thing. Like, how are those numbers being?
Our front desk staff has a clicker.
Okay.
And so every time somebody comes through the door, they're clicking. We also take numbers on visitor buses. Usually they give us a number of how many folks are on the bus. So that's how we keep track of those numbers.
Okay. I was wondering if potentially the numbers are actually maybe even higher than if you've got people like.
It could be, especially during a large event.
Yeah.
Like Friday flings are really hard to keep track. We do our best, but when it's over 1,000 people, it gets pretty tricky.
Yeah, and not everybody necessarily goes into the building. They're in the garden or whatever as well. But as a kind of a point of reference, the Wasilla Visitor Center has about a third or a quarter of what we get. So they're around 7,500 or something like that. So, any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Moving on to reports. City Manager, please.
Mr. Mayor, council members, Jude Villafree, your Public Works Director, and it is my privilege to be sitting up here with you. A quick shout out, I see local business owners, local representatives. The Memorial Day weekend that we just had, it is a privilege to walk down Main Street in Palmer and see all the flags and the U.S. memorabilia. And so I shout out to all those folks involved with that, because it really does set us apart from other communities. Having said that, annual crack sealing began this week. Yes, and road striping, something that we all look forward to. And as it's been mentioned, we put a lot of yellow paint down. The airport is our first priority, and then we will move to the roads. So again, an annual event. This year's hanging baskets that adorn the city, they are currently in the Public Works yard. They take about 10 days to 2 weeks to acclimatize, if you will. They come out of the greenhouse, and we unfortunately have made the mistake years ago where we hung them immediately, and they did not fare very well. So in case anyone wants to know, the baskets are at Public Works. It'll be next week, most likely, that we will hang them. Couple road project updates. The Evergreen Ave project right by the depot and the Cedar Ave road project. They were scheduled to begin today. Weight restrictions remain in effect. So in case anybody was interested, that is why you do not see the movement of any vehicles or any activity on those two projects. Doesn't mean they're not happening. They will. Just road restrictions, weight restrictions to be specific, are still in place. It's at 75% now. So I don't think it'll be too much longer. I do not have a timeline, nor does DOT. I spoke with some folks today, but that is happening. It does not change our completion time. We built in some buffer there. We still anticipate them late August, early September for both of those projects to be complete. Library construction continues, and it is on schedule. There are no concerns to report, no issues that have come up. It's a great crew that the city has working on this project, and they work very well with city, so that's a good news story there. A full update on the golf course. There's some great activity going on out at the golf course. That will be given during the committee of the whole. So I will wait and defer until then, so that then we can take all questions at the same time from you all regarding the golf course. So Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, no real questions. And Mr. Bilford, welcome welcome up here. But just a shout out to your team at Public Works for getting the high school graduates photos up. And I know it's always a challenge with the wind and you know, everything that goes into it. And it was cool. Just Friday, so just 4 days ago, my friend and I walked Palmer and saw all the graduates, and it's kind of an annual event, and at least for the last 6 years, and I'm glad it was able to happen this year, and I applaud you guys for making it work. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Moving into my report, like Mr. Bilfer mentioned, Memorial Day was this weekend. I hope everybody enjoyed the day off, but you know, more importantly, I hope that everybody honored the fallen soldiers. I did go to an event. It was called 98 Fund, and it's put on by the Military Academy class of 1998. Right after their graduation, a number of them went over to Afghanistan, et cetera, and they lost 14 right away. And so throughout the nation, they've got this group called 98 Fund, and every Memorial Day or day before, they honor the fallen soldiers from that class and any of the other folks that have done that. They actually have, I don't know how many acres, but it's out by GPRA, and they have 13 cabins out there that they house Gold Star families and others, veterans and stuff that want to come out and do that. And it was quite an interesting event. We had a flag ceremony, and then we walked to the ceremony pit. Halfway there, we stopped because there were 2 moose that were occupying the place, and so a couple of ladies went out and tried to shoo them away, and they just walked off. They didn't really care that we were there, and I think they passed within 50 feet of us, while they're eating grass and stuff. But it was an excellent event. I also met with the fair CEO, Blake Allen, and we talked about things. He's had only been on the job for 2 weeks, so we talked about things that were going to go on at the fair. What could we do with the city? What can they do for us? It was a good meeting, and we'll probably have many more. I had mentioned before that they had the food bank ribbon cutting ceremony. So I don't know if any of you have gone out to the food bank. It's now a 5,300 square foot building. It has walk-in freezers, cutting tables for vegetables, and it's got a waiting room, which is nice, and also bathrooms for people. So and running water and a large parking lot. And then they also had a torch run that was put on by the police department for the Special Olympics, which was held at the Latter-day Saints Church. And same day on May 15th, they had a police Memorial Day that was held at our police station. And for those of you who were here, I think I mentioned before, May 15th, 1999, James Rowland was our police officer that got killed in the line of duty up by the Fred Meyer parking lot. So it was kind of a day of just get together and and it was hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff, but just a brotherhood kind of a thing, and remember all the police that have, put their life in the line of duty. I was at the Borough Assembly meeting, and I introduced our resolution that when we opposed the sales tax. And I don't know if you saw it, it was probably in the Frontiersman, and we were the ones who launched the first hand grenade about that. And as part of that, I met with the mayor's managers, along with Jude. We met with the mayor's managers meeting here, and we talked about that. And Wasilla is definitely on board with us about the same thing. And I think actually the borough manager is, but he obviously works for the Borough Assembly. So, and we also discussed our projects and the borough projects, what are going on this next coming year. Tomorrow there's the MPO meeting. Which is a municipal planning organization, and we're going to be talking about policy issues, and the deputy commissioner for DOT and one or two of their head engineers are going to be there, and we're going to discuss the Arctic Avenue extension or the project from Alaska Street down to the bridge. And along those same lines, June 3rd. Is open house for the Glen Highway to the Fishhook project, and that's at 5 to 7 p.m. in the depot, and that'll be put on by DOT. This Thursday, I meet with the chamber board, and we're gonna discuss what I've now determined to be July 17th is Celebrate Palmer Day, where we've had that in the past. And I know that we celebrated the Palmer birthday a month ago, but I still think that it's necessary that we continue to have that project go on. So we'll be talking about that, and the chamber, although they don't want to take over the project, they are more than willing to help and give us a hand. May 30th, this Saturday, is a groundbreaking for the library at the depot at 3 o'clock, and they're going to be meeting at the depot, then going over for a groundbreaking ceremony over at the library. Even though the ground has already been broken, it's going to be kind of an official kind of a thing going on. And June 4th at 1 p.m., the new Palmer Brewery is going to have their, even though they've been in existence for a while, they're also going to have their ribbon cutting ceremony. So that's what I have. Any questions? Seeing none. Madam Clerk.
I don't have too much to report. I just returned from my conference. It was the International Institute of Municipal Clerks in Reno. A lot of discussion regarding the typical clerky stuff, legislation, OMA, parliamentary procedure, a lot of conversations about doing more with less resources and transparency. And then the other thing I have to just remind council that we do have council training with our news attorneys on June 20th at 10 a.m. And afterwards, we'd like to have a short work session. And so I'm hoping we won't get out of here later than 1 o'clock, but we'll see how it goes. So any questions for me?
None. Madam Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is Anna Crary from Landy Bennett Blumstein and attorney for the City of Palmer. I'm just going to run through a brief list of the work that my co-counsel Leslie Need and I have been doing over the past few weeks for the city. First off, we've worked with the finance director, Ms. Gina Davis, on sales tax demand letters. Some of those letters have been sent, they're in the mail, and we're preparing any necessary legal follow-up in the event that there is no response to those demand letters. We have been working with your clerk to address questions arising under the Open Meetings Act or OMA regarding council communications just to ensure compliance with that law. We are also working with the acting city manager and various agencies, including the fire department, to review and consider city responses to records requests that are related to insurance claims, city personnel, and submitted proposals. We are reviewing and offering revisions, or we have actually reviewed and offered revisions to an MOU between the Palmer Fire Department and the Mat-Su Borough regarding the use of hydrants. We are currently working on a Palmer Police Department cell phone use policy, so Chief Bozeman can expect me to follow up with him later this week. We're continuing to analyze, or we were asked to analyze issues concerning the alleged unauthorized use of the city seal, and it appeared that those issues self-resolved, which was, it's always the best way for things to end. We drafted a memorandum for your Planning and Zoning Commission on the history and issues arising out of your proposed revisions to the animal control provisions in your code. That in turn arose out of the Mat-Su Borough's efforts to begin to provide those services on an area-wide basis. We reviewed and responded to an audit letter on behalf of the city. This is standard practice for us as attorneys for our clients, many of whom undergo audits. And then finally, circulated to your clerk and hopefully to be circulated to you shortly, Leslie and I developed a memo just analyzing briefly the different statutory and regulatory violations that were contained in the AMCO notice of violation that was issued to the city earlier this year. We've noticed that in both public comments and in council comments since January, questions about those violations continue to arise. As we've reported and as you're aware, that notice of violation was fully resolved by the Alcohol Control Board. They took no action on the actual notice of violation. You are okay to continue the sale of beer and wine, at the golf course. But because there were questions about, what were the violations? Like, what were they specific to? What do they mean? What don't they mean? We figure that it's best just to answer those questions and to provide factual information. And so you will be receiving that shortly. And if you have questions about that tonight, I am happy to speak to it. And that concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Cleary. Sales tax demand letters, give me a little edification on what does that actually mean, and if you can, how many of them do we have to send out? I'm guessing this is something to do with either they haven't paid any of their sales tax or they haven't paid the extra %, or what does a sales tax demand letter actually mean and do?
The sales tax demand letter says you owe the city of Palmer sales tax and you have not paid it. And you have X amount of time to pay it. And if you do not pay it within that period of time, we will initiate a lawsuit against you to get a court order to compel you to pay it. So it's set out in your code.
And the second part of that question is how many sales tax demand letters have you sent out?
There were 2 letters thus far.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
The information that you're going to be sending out about AMCO, do you know, or maybe this would be a better question for Mr. Billefer, is the city going to be publishing that on the website so that it is in public view, just to, for the sake of transparency, so that is just out there?
So we are not advising that the memo be considered like attorney-client work product or privileged. It really is just, this is the statute, this is what the statute requires, and this is what the allegation says. I think that there's likely a way to make it more accessible to the public, and I'd be, because what I write for the council is a little different, it's a little more wonky than what I would write for like public review or public consumption of a legal issue. That's something that I would be more than happy to work with Public Works on, if that's indeed like the desire of the council to put that out there to answer questions in sort of like a Q&A format or something like that.
I'm not sure if that's something we should talk about during the committee of the whole, but I think it would definitely be beneficial for the city to make sure that that is out there for the public. Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to audience participation. 3 minutes per person, limited to a total time of not more than 30 minutes. Council meeting rules protect your right to testify and be heard even if others in the room disagree with you. Council meeting rules also ensure that those attending can express their views if they do not interfere with the rights of others to see and hear the proceedings. At all times, order and decorum will be maintained in keeping with civility and dignity of the legislative process. Please be respectful during audience participation. No disruptions to city business or threats of any kind will be allowed. Individuals who cannot follow these guidelines will be removed. Any threats against others could result in criminal prosecution. Again, please sign in, state your name, and 3 minutes per person.
I need somebody to bring me this sign-up sheet. It's a glitch in our system. Thank you. Either way. Andre, you're first. Please stay. You get there.
Andre Jackson. I'm with the Matsu Martin Luther King Jr. Foundation. I understand that in the past that if I represent an organization, I get more than 3 minutes.
I will allow this time.
Okay, it shouldn't take me that long. Well, I should start with my glasses first here. Mr. Mayor, those that are here, council members and others, of course, the city of Palmer that are here today. I am proud to be here to announce that this is our 4th annual year to celebrate Juneteenth in Palmer. We traditionally always celebrate that day on the day of. This year it falls on the 19th, which is a Friday, which is also the same day as Friday Fling. We knew there would be a conflict, so however, we contacted Chambers and worked out certain deals and compromise with vendors and other things that we were wanting to do. And we got positive results from that. So that being said, on the 19th, starting at 2 o'clock to 7, we will be at the Palmer Museum to celebrate. And along with that, back in 2017, Senate Bill 46 was an act establishing October 25th of each year as African American soldiers' contribution to building the Alaskan Highway. We have partnered with the Alaska Highway Project to put a traveling museum in the Palmer Museum. It should be coming up within the next week or so, going on into the time that we're celebrating Juneteenth, as well as beyond that. I don't know the exact date that they're going to be leaving there, but there'll be an exhibit there. So I invite the city, the opportunity to do a proclamation, if you will. It doesn't have to be read here in Chambers. However, we would like to have one that we can read at our event itself. If you could have one presented, that'd be great. I just want to give you the opportunity. And part of this celebration with the Juneteenth, it deals with the historical facts of what happened, and we plan on doing a reenactment. We have horses available. If you don't know the history, then I suggest that you come to the event, because we have, there was actually a proclamation before the proclamation, and we give you the historical facts that this not necessarily published or put out to the community or put in the library, but we have dug up some materials about Galveston, Texas, that's really interesting, and I think that it's befitting to know, and it goes along with the Highway Project too, that we're able to continue that portion of Alaska history that should not be forgotten. So I do invite each and every one of you and your families to be a part of it. And the part of that we really enjoy the most is that Friday Fling welcomed us, as well as the Palmer Library has welcomed us. And so what it does is that whatever Friday Fling is doing after 3 o'clock, it tends to die off. I've been there quite a few times. So now we're able to at least maybe draw more attraction to people to stay there, to maybe continue to shop, to bring some more tax base to the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maggie.
Obi.
Like left my
Oh.
brain.
Maybe Obi Trammell.
Sorry about that. That's okay. Hi, Mr. Cooper and the City Council. I am here to, well, I should say I'm a City of Palmer resident, and I am the Managing Director of the Palmer Arts Council, and I'm here to speak in behalf of the Palmer Museum of History and Art. First of all, I wanted to thank you for supporting the Arts in the Garden Festival, which we are co-hosting with the museum for the second year. You also supported it last year, and we were very appreciative. The money that we get from you goes to paying for musicians and art workshops that are free to the public to help just our residents experience more art. So thank you for that. So we've been working really closely with the Palmer Museum of History and Art the last 2 years since I have been involved with the Palmer Arts Council. We host the Arts and Garden with them. They were part of our fall studio tour, hosting a local artist so that people can get to know local artists in our communities. We are really appreciative of their Visit Palmer website. I don't know if they spoke enough about that when they were up here, but they have a website that's very useful. They have a community calendar where you can put events on and people can find out what's going on in Palmer. So we use that quite a bit. We are very supportive of the possibility of them having a larger space someday. The Palmer Arts Council does not have a space, and we are reliant on spaces in our community, and there are not that many. Right now, the Palmer Depot is about the only place that you can have community events, and that is booked out a year in advance, and it's too big for some things or not big enough for others. So having a space where maybe we could do workshops or small concerts in their facility would be pretty awesome. So I just want to speak on behalf of that future plan, and just
that we really look forward to working with the Palmer Museum of History and Art in the future. And it's a really great collaboration and partner in our community. Yes, my name was Maggie Obi Trammell.
Yeah, my name's Joel Stefanski. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Another opportunity to try to help out this city in need. I wish the committee of the whole was before the public participation, but I'm hoping a lot of good dialogue comes tonight from the council on trying to save the golf course. I know it's been a struggle. Like I said, I'm out there in the community every day talking to hundreds of people every week, and golf course always comes up. A lot of players have reported back to me. The last time I talked to you guys, I told you I'd show up come June, middle of June, and give my assessment on the golf course operations based on the last 18 years of wonderful managementship there. So, but I will get out there and play. I'd like to know some questions for the council and follow up. Maybe I'll get some answers from you. When the RFP for 2027 is going to go out on the golf course. It's should start getting going right now, so we're not caught with the pants down and it's too late. The other thing I'd like to think was I'm just really perplexed about the city of Palmer doesn't require conflict of interest form, and why council members do not abstain when they have family members that are involved in city decisions, why they don't abstain for those subject matter. I mean, that's 101. That should never happen. People should abstain when they have a conflict of interest. And where are we with the release of obligation? Please do your homework on that. And why was the Airport Advisory Commission canceled 2 weeks ago? I haven't heard anything about that. And how is the council, how you've been working, focusing on a golf course advisory commission just like the airport? And whatever happened to this might come up later on, whatever happened to the 50 employees that should be out there working on the golf course at this time? When I say 50 employees, 50 experienced employees, not just kids off the street. And a $1 million question, you know, people come to golf courses for the greens. The other golf courses in this state are doing very well. And I'd like to know some history on the green superintendent, if that person's still here and what happened to him. And I'll wait for your response at the end, but you know, there's an old saying, water's the gift of life. If you don't give water to things, it's gonna die. Thank you very much.
Anyone else wishing to come forward and speak for the council?
I'll be quick. Hey Council, my name is Steve Lawyer. I'm the president of the Palmer Chamber. I just want to give a big thanks for the support Friday Fling. They're in full effect. Last week's Friday Fling was one of the bigger Friday Flings I've ever seen. I actually went back there Saturday to pick up some trash. There'd be some trash as they got left behind, so sorry about that. We will do better on that. Colony Days is 2 weeks away, believe it or not. So I know our summer is not looking like summer, but that is our kind of big summer event. So the theme this year is Rooted in Community, and there's still a few events up for grab if any local businesses around here want to get in on those. We're trying to spread it around a little more across the city because we are so limited on space with the library and everything. But once again, we greatly appreciate the city and all the effort and help you guys have given us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming out on a decent evening. We're having one. I saw that the committee of the whole meeting was taking place today, and I thought I'd just bring this up.
Name first.
Oh, Cindy Heelharsh. So 2 weeks ago, Joel brought up the formation of a golf course advisory board. He talked about it again just now. The question shouldn't only be how we maintain the course this year, but how we strengthen it for the next 20 years or more. An advisory board could bring transparency, accountability, long-term planning, and public involvement into the conversation. It would give people with experience, ideas, and a genuine interest in the course a chance to work with and alongside the city before we have little crises take place. The library and the airport both have advisory boards. It's time to make use of the faces, voices, brains, and participants that have been standing here or sitting here talking about all sorts of golf things with you. I really encourage you guys tonight when you're in your meeting to think about introducing a motion to form that committee. I don't see a reason we don't have one. I feel like communication could have been not perfect, but just a lot cleaner, clearer if we had a little more engagement between people who are reading, hearing, seeing, coming to meetings, getting stuff 16th hand. It would be great if there could just be a dialogue, if there was a group. And there are plenty of experienced business people, golfers, parents, all kinds of people who really, really are invested in this community and realize that the golf course is a big part of this community. So I'm hoping that you guys might take the opportunity tonight to talk about that. And that's about it. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Good evening. My name is Tim Leach. I'm here before you as a volunteer board member of the Hatcher Pass Avalanche Center. And as I mentioned, I think a few months back, thank you again for the past support of the Hatcher Pass Avalanche Center that you provided through your council grant program there. This evening, I just want to come before you to put in a request for our next fiscal year. We submitted an application requesting $3,000 in support for the Avalanche Center. Many of you probably have heard me mention it before, but our mission here is really to provide avalanche information and general awareness and education through advisories and through educational events that we provide to the general public. And of course, some of that general public is here in town as well. I tend to break our activities into three basic types of activities. One of those is through posting advisories to our website and to social media. Those advisories help folks who are going up into the Hatcher Pass area to ensure that they're making decisions informed by the actual snow science to ensure their public safety or their individual safety. And that spans recreation types. It also includes the folks who are actually just driving on the road as well. So some of that information does guide the management decisions of DNR, state parks, and then DOT as well. So that's kind of the first type, is just the posting of advisories there. The second type of activity that we conduct is actually working with our public safety folks. It includes the Palmer Fire folks as well. So we put on trainings as far as avalanche rescue trainings, also for Matt Subero EMS, and then Matt Starr as well. And then the third type of activity is really working for that next generation. So we get out into the schools, and this past year we were able to get it in front of about 1,000 students. And that's just kind of avalanche 101 stuff, recognizing avalanche terrain and such. But of course, I'm sure most of us have been up the road into Hatcher Pass in the winter, and you see that road run where the parents or the older brothers and sisters are dropping folks off and skiing or sledding. We want to make sure, of course, that the people, including the kids, are safe. So that's the third type. There's a lot of benefit, I think, that we provide to the public here, and that's in the valley, but also folks who are coming into the region, whether they're coming from the Anchorage area or coming in from all over the place. If you go up into the valley, go up into Hatcher Pass, and you start talking to folks there in the parking lot, you'll see or hear some of the accents from other countries are coming in. So we all know how much of a gem this place is. So just in closing, I want to say thank you for your past support. I had heard through some of our communications with our executive director there might be some questions. I know that's typically not the format, but if there are questions, I'll be around to answer any of those questions. And thank you again.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the council. We have no public hearings. Our proceedings follow Robert's Rules of Orders as set forth in Palmer Municipal Code. To promote an orderly and respectful meeting, I requestfully ask the council to observe the following rules. Please seek recognition before speaking. No member shall speak more than twice to any one question. These guidelines help ensure fairness, efficiency, and mutual respect during our discussions. Action Memorandum 26069, authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute a one-year contract with the option to renew up to three one-year options with Combs Insurance Agency not to exceed $167,345. Wishes of the council.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Yes, sir.
I just want to point out that I think we've had Combs Insurance for quite some time. We can hit a couple of nice drivers and get to Combs Insurance right here in Palmer. So, I mean, I just like doing business with local companies, and I hope that we can approve this.
Thank you. Any other questions? Nothing? Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Carrington,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Alcantra,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosier,
Yes.
Councilmember Allen,
Yes.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Councilmember Collins,
Yes.
and Mayor Cooper.
Yes.
It is unanimous and approved.
Thank you. Moving on to new business.
Nope, we have the other two AMs. So there'll be items 2 and 3.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
So the first one is GH.
2666. My printed
Right.
lines. I was.
Action
That was
Memorandum.
my.
Action Memorandum 26066, approving a council community grant to the Hatcher Pass Avalanche Center in the amount of $1,500. Wishes of the council.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to increase the amount of this grant to $1,695, using up the remainder of the money that we have in the fund.
Okay. That would be an amendment for
We
that?
need a second for that.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
Do we
Yes.
have that increase?
Yeah, we have that's the difference between what we have left, which is just $100 and some odd dollars. Yeah, and adding that to the $1,500 initial request. Of the
Okay.
$12,000, we have,
I thought we had 3,000 and then,
we gave $1,500 to the Palmer Arts Council.
and then
And that was gonna be
15 to
another
them.
$1,500, but we're taking the difference of $195 and adding it up to the $1,500 to make it
Oh.
$1,695.
Okay, okay, that makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
I have nothing
Matt.
regarding that. I have no comment on that.
Ms. Mosier, do you have a
I,
question
I
on
do
that?
have a question after the gentleman spoke.
Is it regarding on the amendment?
It is regarding this,
The amendment.
the amendment.
Okay.
I have no questions for the amendment.
All right, so you have a question on the amendment or just on the whole after we get past the amendment?
After the amendment's
Okay,
passed.
Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Allen,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosier,
Yes.
Councilmember Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Collins,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Alcantra,
Yes.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Mayor Cooper.
Yes.
So the amendment has passed, so the new amount will be $1,695, and we're back to the main motion.
We're back to the main motion as amended, approving a council community grant to the Hatcher Pass Avalanche Center in the amount of $1,695. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say that I am so glad that we're able to lend them our support with the increase in visitors to Hatcher's Pass. That increases how many rescue calls that Palmer Fire and Rescue goes on, that the Mat-Su Borough EMS goes on up there, and having that information readily available is fantastic. I also know from personal experience through family that's in the high schools that I've seen the Avalanche Center doing a lot of education at all levels for folks in the community, And especially kids that tend to, you know, go out and think that they're invincible, really showing them the science behind it's really, really valuable. So I just want to say that I support this wholeheartedly.
Thank you. Councilwoman Mosier.
So I also support this wholeheartedly. Watched a lot of good friends that could have really benefited from the education. I'm looking at the budget that was presented to us in the remarks this evening. This is for next fiscal year and not this fiscal year? Okay. It is their next fiscal year. So should we be awarding this tonight, or should we wait till their fiscal year?
No, I believe it's for us, it's right now. Because we still have, what's left of the $12,000. And so that would be an immediate from us to them. And then our next year, fiscal year, starting October 1st, we will add another amount of grant money.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, fellow council members, for your vote on that. I just want to applaud Mr. Leach. He's been here a few times that we've made this grant proposal. They requested $3,000. We're able to meet them a little more than halfway, just because we happen to have a few dollars left over. And I think this can and has in the past been, life-saving type measures that occur. So, it's not just the work they do in Palmer High School and Colony High School to the residents of our community, but it's work they're doing for Alaskans really statewide that recreate in Hatcher Pass. And I'm glad we're able to make this happen. Thank you.
Anything else? Madam Clerk. Action memorandum as amended.
Councilmember Allen.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
Councilmember Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Mosier.
Yes.
Councilmember Collins.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Alcantara.
Yes.
And Mayor Cooper.
Yes.
It is unanimous and approved.
Thank you. Moving on to new business, we have no.
2668.
Already did that?
AM 2668.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. It's confusing.
Sorry, yeah. Action memorandum 26068, directing the city manager to notify the state of Alaska of the city council statement of non-objection of the restaurant eating place license 6029 for Feather and Flower LLC. Wishes of the council.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Yes, ma'am.
So I guess my concern with this is that Feather and Flower closed in October of last year. They closed. Dead Horse Donuts started operating immediately out of the space. And obviously now Dead Horse Donuts is now closed. I know that Feather and Flower owns that property, but my concern is that we would be approving a restaurant eating place license as a city, saying that we have no objection when the business isn't actually operating in the city. It hasn't been since October. They had, like I said, closed, especially according to their website, October 1st of 2025. They applied for this, or it was signed December 9th of 2025, so it was actually after their closure. So I just have concerns about that and us putting the city, like, that we have no problem with it going forward when they aren't operating a business here and don't have a brick and mortar establishment in the city of Palmer.
And this is more than just the eating license. It also includes.
It's the beer and wine with the alcohol. Yeah, it's specific to the sales.
That would potentially be a question for the attorney.
So what the request is just, you're not being asked to approve it, you're just being asked to non-op it. I looked up Feather and Flower because I was aware of that concern too. Their website says that while the restaurant is closed, they are offering catering services or private dining events. And so while I have not investigated or spoken with the owners of the business, nor have I looked to see what the status of their business license is, what I imagine is happening is that they might not be operating a business open to the public anymore, but they may still be holding events or contracting with people either from outside of Palmer or people who want to come here and eat their food, or within Palmer, within the valley, who want to do the same to hold those events and need that license in order to be able to serve beer and wine. At this point, if you're concerned about sort of the lack of information, because they aren't necessarily required to disclose all of that on their AMCO application. One option for you could be to simply table it, but again, and come back to it at another point in time. It is not just immediately clear to me the extent to which the city has that sort of supervisor oversight authority specific to how they operate their business, or what their current operating plan entails. But if these things if they are not being forthcoming in their proposal to AMCO, that's an AMCO issue for AMCO to acknowledge. So I can very quickly just log on to the business license database to see if they are maintaining their LLC registration and their business license status, to see if that helps to shed any light. Because if those things have lapsed, that's indicia that they're not actually doing what they have said that they are going to do. I don't see that there is liability or sort of concern arising in that corner for the city if you do approve this action memorandum to not oppose their application.
I did look up on the state website. They do have an active LLC and an active business license for a restaurant eatery. My concern was just the liability of having that. The other concern I had, and I don't think that there's any way for us to know this tonight without actually talking to AMCO, is that if this restaurant eating place license is not being actively used for a business in Palmer, is that tying up a business license that is active, you know what I mean, where it could potentially prevent another business from coming in and being open and operating.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's a fair question. It's very easy to get a business license in Alaska. Like, there's no limitation on who can apply for and receive a business license. So maybe there is some attenuated effect on the willingness of people who live in Palmer, who see that, Feather and Flower storefront, the space is occupied. Maybe they feel that they can't form a business or generate the capital that would be necessary to actually get that business started. But that's, it's sort of a purely speculative, if, A exists, then B exists, then C exists idea.
My concern wasn't their business license. It was there are, from what I understand, certain AMCO licenses have a limited amount that are issued to a specific area. Yeah. That was my concern.
Understood. Okay. So I think, and sorry, you had said business license, so I just wanted to clarify what kind of license you were referring to, because there's a lot of licenses that are flying around. So if that is the concern, and if the city wants to, you could take no action on this if you feel that it's not appropriate given what you know and given what's been represented. You could simply oppose it, you could approve it, but again, that's the final decision is going to lie with AMCO, as you know, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very legitimate concerns brought up by Councilmember Graham, but I looked at it when I read it as they were only open 3 days a week from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. It looked like they were, I haven't been by there, to be honest, in some time. I didn't know they were actually closed down. I think if it's something Councilmember Graham or any other council member wants to do, we could very easily table this to June 9th, because the AMCO meeting is not until June 23rd. And as Ms. Cleary pointed out, I think if we wanted to take 2 more weeks to, bat it around and make sure that some of those very legitimate questions are answered, then I'd be fine with tabling this for 2 weeks, or postponing it for 2 weeks, I guess would be a better terminology.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Mayor, the other thing I wanted to point out with this is that there's a missing sales tax filing as well with the city, and for the attorney, is this one of the businesses the letter was sent to?
That is a great question, and I do not know. I was not working on those letters, but that is something that I can look into and give you the answer to that tomorrow.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to make a motion to, can I do that?
Sure.
Am I at the right point of things? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to table this until the next regular council meeting so that we can get some feedback and information on their operating status and whether or not the city has restaurant eating place licenses, I guess, additional ones available for folks.
I second that.
I have a comment about that. Concern I have is I don't think it's the city's, that we should be stepping in on a business that has a valid business license, has a valid liquor license at this point. And yeah, you are correct that there are only so many per thousands of people that are allowed. But just because they're not actually have a brick and mortar business, they have a valid license, and if they are doing their catering and stuff, I don't think it's up to us to be able to say, no, you can't have that because we're concerned that somebody else could go buy that license. And I'm not sure that's our place, but I don't have really a problem with delaying this so we get more information. Any other questions, comments? Madam Clerk?
This is for the motion to postpone till June 9th.
Yes.
Councilmember Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher.
Yes.
Councilmember Allen.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Alcantara.
Yes.
Councilmember Collins.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
And Mayor Cooper.
Yes.
It is unanimous and approved. It is postponed until the next regular meeting.
Thank you. No unfinished business, new business. Am I in the right spot now? Resolution 26011, authorizing city manager to accept and appropriate the 2026 State of Alaska High Visibility Enforcement Overtime Grant in the amount of $14,522 to be used for high visibility DUI enforcement activities by the Palmer Police Department.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Do we need to have Chief come up or anything, or?
Yeah, just curious.
Yeah, please, Chief. Sorry. It's warm in here.
Yeah, it is.
So I guess it's just, the question is just, can you explain this program to us and what we're doing?
Absolutely. So it's every year, the state of Alaska offers these funds to various departments, and it's to supplement staffing during high peak hours. There's one for the DUI. There's also like a click it or ticket style grant, and it's to put more officers on the road during high visibility times, like over holidays. One of our significant points of impact will be during the fair. So there, you saw in the packet there, the August 1st through, I believe, September 7th time span. We'll be utilizing most of that during the fair time. The other high point is over the 4th of July holiday weekend, just having more officers on the road checking for impaired drivers.
Is this an amount that changes based on the number of officers that we put out there, so we get their salaries?
It does. It's kind of a number that we pull from, because everyone makes it a little bit different based on seniority and things like that. So we kind of average it out, and then we look at it. It's based on the number of hours granted. So and I don't have those figures right here, but they say give you 30 hours of overtime for this portion of the grant.
Okay.
And they also include within the grant the usage of the vehicles. So there's a portion of the funding that goes towards the maintenance of that time block of use of the vehicles.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Chief. One of the things I wanted to ask you about was, I understand these holiday weekend pieces, the 4th of July weekend, and what I thought was Labor Day weekend, but this actually says the enforcement periods from August 1st, 2026, all the way through what I can only assume without using my calendar and my phone is probably Labor Day itself on September 7th. Is that
It actually goes for that. So mind your P's and Q's for a little more than just the 2 holiday weekends.
So when the grants they put out the parameters of dates and times, and so we just include it within those dates.
Okay.
But we will focus primarily, like I said, around the fair time, which would be, towards the end of August through the fair.
Perfect. One more, sir. Yes, please. I'm shocked, I guess, that the vehicle usage amount is only $6 an hour. I'm thinking even a car idling, would have to cost more. Okay. All right. Thank you for the answers. Thanks, Chief. And you can stick around for the next one.
Absolutely.
Any other questions for the chief or comments? Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Mosier.
Yes.
Councilmember Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Allen.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Alcantara.
Yes.
Councilmember Collins.
Yes.
Mayor Cooper.
Yes.
It is approved and unanimous.
Thank
Or
you.
unanimous and approved.
That too. Resolution 26012, authorizing city manager to accept and appropriate the 2026 State of Alaska High Visibility Enforcement Overtime Grant in the amount of $2,740 to be used for the high visibility click it or ticket enforcement activities by Palmer Police Department. Wishes of the council.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Chief? No, you can talk a little bit about the click it or ticket thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's under the same premise. It's based on safety. Seatbelts save lives, and it's the number of people that don't wear them still is shocking to me. Growing up, I was not the best seatbelt wearer until starting this career, and you actually see what seatbelts can do to save lives. So it's really just about safety. We do ticket more for it during the grant because that's something that's asked of us. They ask for statistical data for the base number of cars we pulled over for it, based on the number of citations we give out. But it's also an educational campaign opportunity. We can see today if we're not working under the grant, we still pull you over and it's an educational opportunity, but this is going to be a high focus.
I might be speaking out of turn here, but isn't the seat belt is a secondary violation? You can't pull. Can you now pull over for? It is. Okay.
It's it used to be a secondary offense, but it's
All right.
now primary.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
So quick question, Chief. I know that the seatbelt ticket amount is dismally low. Knowing that, is that still and years ago it was, is it still a fix-it ticket?
No, I don't believe it is.
Okay.
And I believe the funding actually, when you pay that ticket, outside of court costs, because you're correct, it is very low. I want to say it goes to like fire, like it goes to a weird place, but that's legislature stuff that we don't have part of. It is extremely low for what it potentially does for a person. So.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I just had a quick question. So it's the period is from May 19th to June 1st is what it says. This is already going on. This is a grant that will affect what you're already doing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Chief, do we? I know we have a fine. Do we use the state fine?
We use the state when we're issuing these tickets.
And that's typically all the time?
Typically, yes.
Okay.
Sir. But it's the funding of it, and I thank goodness for Gina, because she helps me a lot. But understanding the process of those tickets, so if it's written within, I think ours is HDCF, which puts us in the city of Palmer's jurisdiction. When the funds go through the courts, it does come back to the city general fund.
All right.
So a portion of that.
Yeah.
Not all of it. So.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions, Madam Clerk? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Councilmember Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Allen.
Yes.
Councilmember Mosier.
Yes.
Councilmember Collins.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Alcantara.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
And Mayor Cooper.
Yes.
It is unanimous and approved.
Thank you.
We've had a request for a bathroom break.
All right. Take a 5 to 10 minute break, please.
Middle of June, we got 20 days from now. Should be just like it's been the last 18 years. Place in the clubhouse, beer flowing, food, hot dogs out. None of that exists right now. It should be enjoyable. It was enjoyable. Seems like that was the smart way to do it. They don't have the special ones. They have that was tight. It's very wide. No, but the thing is, so they're they just yeah. So I think there's more but 2 months ago, and actually just put it out where the licenses are, and no, from the licenses are all different areas, and so they keep track. Like they put out, okay, there's so many of these licenses. See, I have one, but there is so many here. There are a lot. But the thing is, for here, it's completely different, and you gotta get it for the events. No.
I'd like to call us back to order, please.
No.
Okay. There are no records of items placed on the table or back on the second audience participation.
And just
Again,
whoever wants to speak.
Again, sign in, state your name, 3 minutes per person. Council meeting rules protect your right to testify and be heard even if others in the room disagree with you. Council meeting rules also ensure that those attending can express their views if they do not interfere with the rights of others to see and hear the proceedings. At all times, order and decorum will be maintained in keeping with the civility and dignity of the legislative process. Please be respectful during audience participation. No disruptions to city business or threats of any kind will be allowed. Individuals who cannot follow these guidelines will be removed. Any threats against others could result in criminal prosecution. Again, please sign in, state your name, and 3 minutes per person. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak? Yes, sir.
Wesley Arts, Palmer Bar. I think it's a really great idea to have an advisory board for the golf course. Also, I'm just curious if there has been anything brought up on how to separate the golf course from the airport. If there's been any headway on that. I'm just very, very curious. But yeah, it would be interesting. You might be able to get me if on the advisory board if you actually created one. So.
Anyone else? Seeing no one, we'll close audience participation, bring it back to the council. And I need a motion to go into committee of the whole.
I move.
And this is for the Palmer Municipal Golf Course information update.
I move to enter committee of the whole regarding the Palmer Municipal Golf Course update.
I second.
Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Graham?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosier?
Yes.
Councilmember Allen?
Yes.
Councilmember Carrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Collins?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Alcantara?
Yes.
Mayor Cooper?
Yes.
We are in committee of the whole
Thank
at
you.
7:30.
Thank you. Mr. Billafer.
If I could, Mr. Oots, please, Community Development Director. There were some questions that had been asked, and this is a discussion up to you, and we'll give a quick overview right now of what has been going on and how things have been proceeding. Okay?
Good evening, Nathaniel Woods, Community Development Director. I oversee the golf course as part of my department. As for May, so obviously we had our ribbon cutting opening, grand reopening of the, sorry, I keep tapping that, grand reopening of the clubhouse on the 29th, as well as partnered with Celebrate Palmer. April 30th, we opened. About a week and a half later, we opened the range. So we purchased a range ball distribution machine. It is installed, ready to go. That is to alleviate most of the foot traffic that is going in and out of the pro shop. We reorganized the pro shop a little bit. So there's more of a seating area on the south side to overlook the driving range in hole 1 and hole 2, and of course the mountains. So the pro shop is more on the northern side, interior of the building. People can walk in, immediately be greeted by pro shop staff. As of right now, we're about half capacity on merchandise. So soft and hard merchandise, meaning clothing, shoes, and then the hard merchandise, which would be clubs and accessories and everything like. That's the reason for the latency of that was we were in negotiations with absorbing George's retail that he had in his merchandise. Those didn't come to a fair and equitable situation for the city. So we went ahead and parted ways without exchanging any of the merchandise. So we're about half throttle. The rest of that should be in within about 3 weeks. So we'll be full capacity. Pro shop concessions is fully open, fully staffed. We're working out and kind of feeling out what works and what doesn't work when it comes to food and beverages. The Snack Shack at Hole 9 is officially open as of Thursday of last week, and it is rocking. We're learning that most things sell better at the Snack Shack than they do at the concessions, and some things at the concession stand inside the pro shop sell better there. So that's real fun to work with that and have a great staff that's learning all that, how to provide the best we can for everybody. So on the note, I kind of overheard applicants or staffing. I think 50 gets thrown around a lot. We had 74 applicants. That's across the board, from cart kids to staffing to marshals, pro shop, meaning that professionals they'll grade you, size you with the equipment, as well as the concessions, groundskeepers, and that of course includes the superintendent and the golf course manager as well, and a mechanic. So we had 74 applicants. We had to shut it off, actually. We had so many to go through. 27 current employees that are active right now. And the reason why you think, oh wow, 50 versus 27, it's because previously people that worked there could kind of work micro schedules, right? So they would go there, they work 1 or 2 days or maybe 3 or 4, and it was a little bit different. George had 5, correct me if I'm wrong, Drew, 5 full-time staff. Those were high capacity people. So mechanic, superintendent, of course, George himself, Katie at the front office, and I believe one other accessory person I might be forgetting. And that allowed people to kind of come in and give pocket shifts. City of Palmer, there's a lot that goes into hiring people. It's not just hiring somebody for 8 hours once a week or twice, 4 hours, 2 shifts. So it's less employees, longer staffing hours. So kind of a push-pull in that situation with some applicants that are reoccurring people that wanted to come back. Unfortunately for us, not unfortunately for the general public, unfortunately for us, some people are loyal and that's their right. So we're open forum for anybody to apply. I was very boisterous about that. We do have about 7 staff that have returned from previous administration. Well, one of the exciting stuff, as of this afternoon, there's 2,253 rounds of golf in the month of May. 472 of those were Saturday to Monday, so the holiday weekend took up 21% of what May's capacity was for rounds. Guess if we want to get into the numbers of things, let's see. So without adding like other member dues, which would be like residuals from previous years that were pre-bought, we are looking at $193,227 for the month, including the 2 days of April. Season passes, there were 68 season passes sold in the month of May, totaling $76,730. And we're kicking on food and beverage. It's we actually ran out of things this weekend, so which is exciting but kind of nervous. So you get a phone call on Sunday and be like, hey, we got to make an emergency run. So it's good. It's a lot of learning curves for everything. Our mechanic, we happened to get really lucky. We had a part-time mechanic and equipment operator for the airport that was very curious about a full-time position. We were able to get creative with finance and actually piggyback him between the airport and the golf course. And so he is a heavy-duty equipment mechanic with our superintendent, Jason. He went through and basically has been really a self-driver and very initiative, learning everything he can, and he's brilliant. So that's really exciting because as a city, you want to operate fine line between being frugal and being cheap. So we're learning how to take some of the equipment that maybe normal golf courses would basically phase out. So speaking with other courses, most of the time they have a 5-year program where they lease and then they rotate. That has not been happening the last several years. So instead of buying a whole new fleet, we're looking at phasing 2 mowers, whether that be greens, rough, fairways, and basically rotating those in the future. So into a lot of discussions with that with our rep from Toro. So I guess I'll open it up to questions.
Dan Carrington.
My understanding there's a situation with the water, what's going on and what's going on with that?
Okay, well, as we all know, we had a really fun winter that seemed to want to ebb and flow, no pun intended. So the water right now, we went to turn on the pump and it needed a code. So I reached out to George, and George said he didn't know what the code was. So I asked him if he could reach out to JD, which is the previous superintendent. I asked George to do that, not myself, to leverage his rapport there. George called back in a couple hours, said that, didn't give me the code, but he said it was on the wall. So we could not get it reprogrammed. So there's a couple different, it's a 75 horsepower pump. So in your home, you might have what, 1 horse, right? So this is a very large machine. So with that, it takes a variable frequency driver, a VFD, lots of huge components with this kind of, lots of pressure. So when we went to basically the controller, the VFD, when we went to turn it on, we're having code issues getting into it. So George recommended that we called Supreme Electric. So we called Supreme Electric. I pulled up some old invoices. The pump was replaced in 22, and in 2 instances in 21 caused the pump to need to be replaced. The VFD in 22 was brought out with Supreme to basically calibrate it. There was some electrical and voltage ebb and flows with that would cause overheating. There's lots of notes in the pump house about how to reprogram when it does overheat, things of that nature. At first, we brought out Wheaton Wells. That's right, Wheaton Wells, I get them mixed up. It didn't really get any traction with them. That's when George recommended, hey, I usually have Supreme come out, do the electrical work on it. So we had them come out, very helpful. Bill and Justin came out, looked at it, recommended that we get a hold of Anchorage Well and Septic. They came out Saturday. Yeah, Saturday, and night and day difference. They were familiar with the system, they're familiar with the pump, familiar with the driver. The driver needs to be replaced, is essentially what it is. It's over 15 years old. So those things, those components, they're meant to be replaced. So we've gotten lucky with not having to replace such a big ticket item, but it is part of it. It's part of fixing things. It's mechanical and it will burn out, especially with brownouts. So some of the notes on the Supreme invoices talk about brownouts. It will fluctuate and cause voltage issues. So that can actually trip out the controller. So yeah, we're essentially, so that's the electrical side of things and the pump and the driver. As for water, I walked it with John and superintendents and 2 marks that have helped build the course and were superintendents previously. We walked it for about 6 hours, checking all the essentially elbows and points and shut-off valves. And there were some still frozen valves still last week. So yes, we need water on it. We're working on actually getting the large pump truck, so that well truck that's in the back over by the mechanic shop, get that up and running because it is not operable right now. There's lots of things that were kind of put away and not ready to get started at the beginning of the season. Unfortunately, like these are the types of things you typically do, say in January, February, and being handed the golf course right around March 15th, trying to scramble. Yeah, we're behind the curve. So, and that's not anybody at fault that's in this room, right? These are things that just, it's a situation we're faced with, and that's a situation we had to make move. And so everybody has just all hands on deck. So they're doing a great job. It's just a matter of making sure we move forward. So water will be put on the greens. Greens are most important, obviously. I've seen some things on Facebook as well. Unfortunately, you could do everything right and somebody will have a problem. So that doesn't take away the fact that the greens are the most important thing. But yes, so we have not had to be able to get the system turned on yet, but we're within a couple days.
Yes, ma'am.
You'd mentioned that right now you have 27 employees. Is that
active? Yes.
Active. Is that fully staffed Or are you guys still sorting through and looking at additional staffing on top of that 27?
So I would say I would like to have more, just for movement, right? For a little bit of ease and comfort, to say. Right now, I would say we've been all right, but it's about to pop, right? So this weekend, 472 rounds, right? I would say that I would be more comfortable with about 10 more employees across the board.
Is that part of the city's plan to add additional employees? Are there, I don't know what the city calls them, are there positions open and available for that?
Well, the city is reviewing, as Nate mentioned, was it 74 applicants? So the applicants are still there, the applications, and the city is still reviewing it. It just takes time. And as you heard mentioned about this VFD, I'm just going to throw in there real quick. That's approximately a $12,000 fix, just so it's not a shock or a surprise when that does come forward for the replacement.
So just to be clear, the city is still actively hiring people to work at the golf course, or are you holding those other applicants in reserve? Like, what is the plan for that? Are there positions open you guys are working on currently filling, or are you fully staffed as of right now, and then you're gonna reassess as everything goes on, whether or not you need to add positions?
We're fully staffed as of, say, this week, right? As we push through and we'll call it personality differences, right? Some, like for instance, we hired somebody that has worked in the past, full on, yep, I can work 30 hours. And then yesterday it was, I need 15 days off because I have family in town. Those kinds of things have arisen. So there's going to be chaff trying to find wheat. It's just the natural progression of things. So I would say, yeah, we're fully staffed, we're operable. I would be more comfortable, and I know John and the rest of the staff would be more comfortable with about 8 to 10 more employees. Now, depending on how well the season continues to progress, that could go up. For your answer is we have people in the bank, we have contacted people, and then even when we do contact some people, we've had several people that, I took another position. Lots of the return people are seasonal. This is a seasonal position, so it's a very difficult thing to add people to a 6-month duration. So we get a lot of students, hence why we changed code for the 16-year-olds to make it a lot easier to bring people in, and then teachers as well as another one. So we lost one. We had a course marshal, Freudian slip there. We had a course marshal that was actually a repeat employee. He just took a job in Tucson. So it was a real bummer, but he was like, I hate to say this, but I just took a job in Tucson. I'm happy for him. It's a great position for him to transfer at the school district, but those kind of things happen. So, but to answer, I'd be more comfortable with about 10 more employees, and we have the bank for them.
Any other? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Oates. I don't have access to my cell phone right now, and I'm not looking it up on here, so I'm asking you, what are the hours of operation now at Palmer Golf Course?
Today?
Yeah.
Like as of right now, 8 to 6.
You are closing the golf course at 6 in the evening?
That's the last,
This is the land of the midnight sun. Yeah, okay.
You want me to answer?
Yes.
Okay. The last tee time right now is 6. I'm not there every day, right? I have 4 other divisions to run. So John is opening it as we go. The progression was to open it up, right, as the season continues. I can refer back to him. I didn't check on it today, but that's what we were operating at the end of last week. So I may be mistaken, but what I'm saying is the last tee time was 6 p.m. on Monday.
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Oates, sorry, your answer shocked me so much that I didn't give you time to answer fully. Golf course in the past, I believe, was a 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. operation. That's 15 hours. Now you're talking 10, so you're open 2/3 of the time. I think what you just said is that 27 employees was sufficient, but being open 8 to 6 is not sufficient, and you're never going to get the rounds of golf that you hope to get if you're squeezing golfers by effectively at least 5 hours. So as we come into June and we're getting really close to solstice and where people can play a lot of golf, and that's part of the draw, playing golf in Alaska, that is really cool to tee off at 8:30 at night and finish at midnight, get a 3.5 hour round in. Those are the kind of things I think we need, the city needs, not just yourself, to readdress and reassess and figure out how are we going to make this happen. You cannot run a golf course in Alaska 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. That or you're just running it to create a failing golf course. And I hope that's not the case.
May I respond? Okay. So Saturday, so this last Saturday, there were 4 tee times at 3 p.m., 6 at 4, 3 at 5, none at 6 on Sunday, 9 at 4, 14 at 5, 2 at 6 yesterday, 13 at 5, 6 at 6. So right now, operationally, as of this last weekend, opening up and having a last tee time at 8, I'm absolutely all for it. Don't kid yourself. As soon as that sun comes out, I'm not laying down in my bed at 8 p.m. either. My plan is to have this thing open as much as possible as well. But stats show that most of the rounds happen prior to 1 p.m. That doesn't mean we're gonna stay. That's not gonna be status quo. This is not the summer hours at all, just to answer you. This is the preseason gearing, and let's be honest, it hasn't been exactly nice up until this last weekend. So I will say, even though we've had a lot of rounds, lots of these people are soldiers out there in that wind. It's been, so no, I don't see that 7 to 6, 8 to 6, that's not gonna pass this week. That's opening up, and I can confirm that with John. He's just not here today.
Mr. Mayor, I think what the deputy mayor is saying is that, you know, despite the fact you might have had 2 at 6 o'clock or 0 at 6 o'clock, that if it was open later, that there would be people that would sign up for those times. Correct me if I'm wrong, sir.
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know because I'm not on the website, and I don't know if this exists, and I appreciate Mr. Oates' answer that it's not going to stay at that. But if you're advertising, or if you're saying on your website, last tee times at 6, then obviously people aren't going to sign up for a 6:18 tee time or a 7:45 tee time. So as we expand, which I think I heard you say would be more comfortable with 10 more employees. You didn't say it would take 10 more employees. You said it would be better if we had 10 more employees. As you're covering, you know, I've often said it's an 18-hour a day, 7-day-a-week thing, but that includes people that are there way, way long before the golf course opens. So, I mean, in reality, I hear you saying you have 27 mostly full-time employees that are probably working 40 plus hours a week or 40 hours a week. But to cover the time that needs to be covered with, you know, groundskeepers, with people, not, you know, it's not just, hey, we're open 8 to 6, so that's when you know, fire up a grill or do other things. I also want to applaud you. It sounded like it just happened this weekend, or maybe it happened last week, but getting the snack shack open on hole 9, I think is key, because Palmer Golf Course has a very unique setup where you don't come back to the clubhouse after 9 holes. You're about as far away from the clubhouse as you can get. So having the ability to get a Palmer Pride dog and a beer and a soda and a Gatorade and a, you know, Snickers bar and everything else is kind of critical for that to be open. So I'm happy to hear that. I look forward as we move into June next week, you know, that, you know, expansion of hours, whether it's, you know, from 7 to 7, and hopefully as John Chirac and others get more time on task and more, you know, help, I think is a big factor too. They'll be able to extend that out, because I know they want to see, you know, especially in June, July, and August, you want to see 5,000 rounds of golf a month. So I hope that I hope there's a method, and I think it starts with, you know, adding those extra 5-ish hours to the day. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
So my understanding was that till 6 was preseason from a conversation I had earlier. And is that posted anywhere that it's preseason? If people know that till 6 is preseason time, then they know that it should extend. Where have they fixed the postings? Because we had this conversation where the time that I was trying to find online was different than what the time actually was open, and then I couldn't find it on the city website. So is there clear posting of the times and the fact that it's a preseason time? That would help.
I can't confirm where it's posted. I do know that active conversation happens every single day, right? But for me to say where it's at, I don't, that would be a lie.
Is there a posting on the door? Because I had someone complain that they couldn't find the right time online, and there's nothing on the door. They took their 3-4 families out there, and there was no indication of when they were going to be open. So I'm just wondering, is there clear posting so people know what the times are somewhere? There seems like a good idea to me.
Yeah, I believe after the repetitive comment about the posting not being on the door, I believe it's on the door now. But the difficult thing with that is if we post every single time it opens back up, like it's a constant churning, which I'm not against, right? But like being able to, like, you also have Google, right? My understanding is people look up on Google, and if you type in Palmer Golf Course, it still pulls up the old website. Sometimes it opens, sometimes it's deleted because George owned that URL. So I'm not against posting it everywhere we can, right? There's going to be confusion because there was a change of management, the website's different, there's a new website, times are changing, but absolutely, I will guarantee that it will be posted not only on the city website, the course website, as well as the door zone. I'll make sure to have staff communicate it.
Nate, is it on a voicemail answering system as well?
Should be.
Last time I checked, it wasn't.
Right. Yeah, pursuant to this conversation, obviously the first place you gotta go from here is put it on the door, whether it's 8 to 6, 9 to 7, or whatever the heck the time is, but get that put online. Because I know that I was out there, I didn't see anything on the door either, so hopefully it's gonna be there. So, yes, ma'am.
So currently I'm looking at the Palmer website, and it is out here for the week of May 18 to 24. It says 8 to 7 p.m. No other dates and times after 24 May is listed.
Forgive me for texting. I'm texting John right now to find out what his hours are.
I'm looking at that website as well. It says Palmer Municipal Golf Course. A new release date 3/20/26. However, it says May 18 through 24 was 7 p.m. It says May 11 through 17 is 6 p.m. So we're a little bit confused, and we got to make sure that we take care of that. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure if this is something that we would talk about afterwards, after the committee of the whole as a motion, or during this committee of the whole for the municipal golf course update. Obviously, there's been conversation about a golf course advisory board. There are other city departments, there's other, the airport, the library, that are ran by the city now. It would make sense to have an advisory board. I think the logic is there, but I don't know, as a council member, I've never seen an advisory board created before. It would be nice to have some guidance as far as, okay, what are the steps that need to be taken? Is it an ordinance that needs to happen? And then potentially getting council support to have the city clerk work with the applicable directors to get that taken care of. So that we can have
It is an ordinance change and therefore, and also a code change.
Okay.
But don't we have a park and recreation? Wouldn't it fall under that advisory board? Because we already have that existing, and doesn't that fall under park and recreation?
Well, Parks and Rec advisory boards, as do all advisory boards, what their roles and responsibilities are clearly codified in the various ordinances that established them. So I do not know what specific parts and pieces are applicable to that. It's something that we can certainly look up and get that information.
This is just, I think this is the right time to have that conversation. We're all here, it's on the thing, so I'd like to hear from other council members about how they feel about a golf course advisory board, hear from directors, the clerk, what it will take to do that as far as getting it in, getting public comment on it, that sort of thing.
I went ahead and looked up when it was first brought up for a Palmer Golf Advisory Committee and looked across the state of Alaska. No city has an advisory golf course committee. At this time, most of the time, because of the city size, the funding issues, it all falls underneath Parks and Rec, can be. However, it's not saying that in other similar cities in the lower 48 that they don't have one. And I would look at our finances and see what we can do with that, and we have at least 2 different directions to go.
So I do have code pulled up in front of me, chapter 2.22, Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. It's, I will read right out of it, 2.22.005 purpose. A, the purpose of the City of Palmer Parks and Recreation Advisory Board is to develop, support, and advise the City Council in all matters pertaining to city parks, recreation, and cultural programs and projects. Then B, the board shall provide input and recommendations on issues relating to the placement of memorials and plaques on city property and on the annual budget for city parks, recreation, and cultural board programs and projects. So that's the definition for Parks and Recreation. And then earlier I did look up the creation of an advisory committee, and it's basically two of you would need to support an ordinance, or the mayor support an ordinance to create a golf course advisory board. So those are your 2 options that I can see. It's also, if the attorney is welcome to correct me.
Do I get to weigh in? Do I get to actually
Yeah.
give legal? This is great.
So-
This is my moment. I hope that the lighting is highlighting all of my best features. So you have 2 provisions in your code that are relevant here. The first provision is in section 2.09, and it talks about special committees. You create a committee by resolution. The second option that you have is creating an advisory board. Section 2.18, you need to do that by ordinance. In both instances, your resolution and your ordinance needs to clearly state the purposes of the committee or the advisory board. Now, it's possible that your Parks and Rec Advisory Board, which was created by ordinance, in that specific ordinance, because I don't have that in front of me right now because I think it was passed back in 2015, lays out golf course adjacent issues. It's also possible that it doesn't. I mean, anything falling under that department we could say is golf course adjacent, but because at that point in time the city wasn't managing the golf course, it is likely that it's a little light on specifics relating to public input regarding the operation of the golf course. So you have choices. You have the ability to create a committee, which is, a little less substantive than an advisory board, but very clearly set out in that resolution what that committee is constituted specifically to do, and when it does that. And you also have that option with respect to the advisory board option. So either way, you need a motion, you need some action of the council, and you will set forth in detail what that committee or that board does.
Is there a difference between those 2 in regards to city residency, or is that based on what we write up in there?
That is a great question. I'm looking right now at your creation of special committee section. Committee members and committee chair. I'm talking about the nomination of committee members in Code Provision 209015. It says that committee members may be selected by the council, or the city manager may recommend names to be approved by the council. The selection of the committee chair and the vice chair, it looks as though is reserved to the council. The council may designate the chair and the vice chair. So there is nothing specific that I see in here that says that a committee member specifically has to be a resident of Palmer, though I think it would be understandable if that is something that the council wants. With respect to board and commission members, in section 218.020 of your code, it provides that members of boards or commissions shall be nominated by the mayor. So shall be nominated by the mayor, confirmed by the council. And that mayoral nomination and council confirmation may occur anytime there's a vacancy. So if you're creating something, you're gonna fill a couple of vacancies. The term of those membership, 3 years, start on the 1st of January and December 31st. And again, there is nothing here that is specific to the members of that board or commission being a resident of Palmer, though if you are forming a board or commission to deal with municipal golf course issues, it might bear understanding if in the ordinance you set out, you say that it is preferred or required that a member be a resident of Palmer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, in my opinion, I would not want to see our Parks Advisory Committee that deals with our 7 parks in Palmer. This topic would suck all the air out of the room for that particular committee. What I would like to see is either, as Ms. Cleary stated, in either 2.09 or 2.18, and probably either one would be sufficient, but create a committee or create an advisory board in order to and establish it as quickly as we can, because we want to take advantage of a golf season. And I could foresee, 5-member committee where people submit their applications to the mayor and the mayor moves them forward. I would not be opposed to at least one committee member representing outside the city limits, because of the fact that there are so many golfers that come from all over the place to play Palmer Golf Course. So I don't know if I could make a motion now to create a committee under 2.09 and get a second to that, and we could let her think.
Not in committee of the whole.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. Thank you.
So just another addition to that, of our 3 commissions, other than the airport commission, planning, zoning, all residents of the city of Palmer. The Board of Economic Development, 5 of the 7. I think Parks and Rec, same thing, 5 of the 7. And I think Airport Advisory is the same thing. So it would go along with what you were saying, Deputy Mayor, that if we had 5, it could be 1 outside. If it was 7, it'd be 2. So just more information. Yes, ma'am.
I think that I definitely echo Deputy Mayor Alcantara's desire to have people that are not residents of the city of Palmer on it. I would personally like to see it like a 3 to 5, or I'm sorry, a 3 to 2, so 3 inside, 2 outside city. It seems like that's kind of how the other boards have been working, where there's a majority that are represented for inside the city limits, and then the minority is for outside the city limits. And I think a 3 to 2 split on a 5-person board would be a good way to go, personally.
So my concern is the workload on the staff and what that would create for the committee meetings, because community development already has Parks and Rec, and they have planning and zoning, and they have BED. And one more committee, I don't know what that would do to the staff and the manning for that. So something to consider as well.
Yes, ma'am.
Since we have the Park and Rec, and golfing would be recreational, and would it not be easier to use what already exists and possibly change the code or change whatever resolution to have them address specifically and adjust the members, or to include more golfers, and invite those people to come in? Taking what we already have in place, seemed like it would be quicker to adjust that, if that can be adjusted, and by changing the code or doing doing an amendment and then making it, because that's where it would be. You know, that it seems like that makes sense, that it would be under that instead of making a whole thing just about golf, if that makes sense.
Mr. Mayor.
Please.
Yeah. It'll be like a two-part question to a couple people. My concern with that is commingling a golf course and Parks and Rec. What happens to the existing Park and Rec, right? Secondary, obviously the movement with the golf course is very passionate. I agree and I concur that it will take the air out of the room, as well as I think it would be not only a disservice to Parks and Rec on the sense of what they're trying to accomplish, it would be a disservice to the golf course as well. Because then you would have, not that this is a bad thing, right? You would have 3, 4, maybe 5 people that aren't golfers making decisions for the golf course, and we'd be essentially in the same position that the public feels we're in now, right? And then vice versa, right? We'd end up with 4 to 5 golfers that maybe have no interest in dog parks or pocket parks or anything like that. Not saying they will or they won't. I'm just saying that that would be a concern. My other concern is we already have an issue with Parks and Rec not having enough for the dais to have a meeting. So we were talking about a 5-person, and I'm not familiar with the code off the top of my head. We were talking about a 5-person committee. I would like to say make it a 7, because I believe if that's true, I think you can have 4, and you can have a dais, right? Otherwise, if somebody correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't have the code on the top of my head here, but I would say I would open the conversation. Does it have to be 5 or can it be 7? Is that?
But if there's not, I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor.
And additionally, I have some updates on the hours.
So the question that you're asking, that I'm hearing, is really a question of quorum.
Yes.
And it provides in your code that a majority of committee members or a majority of advisory, of board or / council members is a quorum. So if you constitute a committee of 5, you need 3 people to meet legally. If you constitute a committee or a board of 7, you need 4 people to meet. If you constitute a committee of 3, you need 2 people to meet.
Understood. Thank you.
So,
and
Mr.
then I
Mayor.
have an update on hours when you're ready.
Yeah, an alternative could be a 5-member committee that I don't want to say report to, but it's actually under Parks and Rec, and then it comes to us. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to show me and Mr. Oates can agree on some things, but I would say the percentage goes down minusculely as you get higher member committees. So 3 out of 5, 60%, 4 out of 7 is 58.6, 5 out of 9 is 55. So it's difficult no matter what to try to get people, especially in the summer months. Hey, you're all going to get together on this Tuesday night, Thursday night, whatever it's going to be. But I do like the thought of, and I'm okay with either a 5 or a 7-member committee. I think there's enough interest that people will apply, unlike some other pieces sometimes. And I do appreciate the comments that it's not just saying about the air out of the room, it's also about the people who already currently serve that may be overwhelmed by the golf course conversation. They didn't sign up for the same things we signed up for and listened to a lot of the things that have gone on. So I think you can find some people that really want to serve. We already heard from one earlier this evening, and get a group together, whether that's a 5-member group or a 7-member group. I just think we should do it as expeditiously as possible, and and move forward. I would not want to see them. The difference here is that this is an enterprise fund. This isn't the a small. This isn't Wilson Park or anything. This is actually something that provides money back to our coffers, or has in the past. And this is more along the lines of the water and wastewater and other things. And I think the golf course has enough interest in this room, and has for the last 9 months, that I don't think finding a minimum of 5 to serve will be a difficult hurdle to overcome. So I hope we can do that once we get out of committee of the whole. Thank you.
Exploring the idea of using what we've already got set up. You mentioned like there hasn't been enough folks showing up to the Parks and Rec advisory committees. Like those positions are filled, but they're just not showing up. Am I accurate in that? Does anyone know?
We have one member that doesn't show up, and so my understanding, I've only been to one, which is shocking, being that I've been in the position for a year, but there's only been one. So in 1 year, there's been one Parks and Rec. And I feel that that's a disservice to the community grossly. Now, not singling one person out, but my understanding is you can skip two, and then as long as you rescue yourself with one meeting, you kind of float, right? I'm trying to see if we can be a little bit more stringent on that of if you've got a certain amount in a certain annual year, that we replace you with somebody possibly that maybe can make the meetings more. So that was the hinge point on that. The meeting I went to, everybody was very active, very excited. And I want to continue that because I too, like, of all the things that are pet projects for me, that's one of them. I feel like Palmer needs more. Not only parks in the sense of like kid parks and pocket parks, I'm talking community parks, I'm talking green belts, railroad corridor, bike parks, like everything, right? So I'm gonna push a little bit harder to be a little bit more stringent and maybe some golden handcuffs with kind of skipping out. But yes, in one calendar year, there has been one Parks and Rec, and that's a disservice to the community, in my opinion.
Well, I guess, sorry if I could follow up on that. Is this, and it's just a thought, as far as the Parks and Rec, if it needs a little boost of energy, that maybe that could come from the golf community if it's struggling and not meeting regularly and things like that, that maybe, like I said, that the energy from the golf community could help in that regard. Question as well, mentioned cost associated with setting up a committee or a board. Any idea what the cost would be to do something like that?
$50 a person per meeting.
No additional kind of costs or fees that we'd need to be concerned about? Okay. That's all I had. Thank you.
Overtime for staff is there's right now, I don't know if the city website is current, but there's only 4 members on the board and rec, or is there more? That's all that's listed, I mean, on the Parks and Rec advisory board.
I don't believe that's been updated. Now, the reason why, and you get into a tough position when you're up here and you're explaining things why they haven't worked, because then it gets into a level of disparagement, right? And I don't like doing that. What my understanding is when I took the position, there were several committees that were lacking activity in the sense of appointments. That was a process problem that the applicants would come through, it'd go, I believe, to the clerk, and they'd get forwarded to the mayor, and then it kind of just shelved or fell off the end of the desk, right? And I come in and I'm going, hey, why haven't we had this meeting? Well, we have these applicants, they haven't been appointed. So we have corrected that since, that it comes in and both level of distribution goes to the mayor and goes to my office. Most of all the other than the airport committee, comes through my office, community development. So I've got BED, I've got Parks and Rec, I have planning and zoning, as well as, well, I'm spacing out. It's been a long day, I apologize. But yeah, so that was kind of, I asked the clerk, I said, hey, I'd like to be looped in because we're all busy, right? Mayor's busy, not this particular mayor, previous. It just, like, papers get buried and it happens. So just having some redundancy on the applicants helped bring that up. But to answer your Councilwoman Carrington, I don't believe that the website's updated. I believe we have a full Parks and Rec.
How many's on that? Do you know? I mean, what's a full contingent?
7.
7,
Yes.
minus the one that never shows up.
I didn't say never shows up. They show up. Never is a big word. I have an update for hours if you want. I have to apologize for not knowing that off the cuff. So Thursday tea times, we're updating. Thursday is 8 a.m. to 7. The last tea time is 7:50 p.m. starting on Thursday. Wednesday night is our first Wednesday night leagues. Their tea time is from 6, and they usually wrap up about 9:40. Looking to have open tea times starting 7 a.m. within the next week. That would be my goal. But obviously, I don't run the golf course. I'm going to take advisement from my manager, course conditions and everything like that. But that's an actual update. So I do apologize for saying 8 to 6. That's one of those things that fell off the cliff that I didn't check before I came here. So I apologize.
So just so that, because of the way that the committee of the whole works as far as the action being taken, what I would like to see is I would like some guidance on the best way to verbalize my desire to have a 5-person golf course advisory board formed, as far as who do we direct that request to, what would go into actually to direct the writing of that ordinance to. So who would I direct that to once we're out of committee of the whole? Okay.
What's the difference between the advisory board and the committee as far as what would be realistic?
That's a great question. So as I said before, a committee is formed by resolution, so you don't need to have a public hearing on it. It can be established faster. And in any creation document, you establish a duration for the committee. So a committee doesn't exist in perpetuity. A board or a commission, I'm just going to use board and commission interchangeably, it has to be created by ordinance. So it's an ordinance that needs to be drafted by your clerk. I would suggest also the involvement of legal counsel because, it's legislation. It has to be introduced, and then you have to hold a hearing on it. So it's going to take longer. And the same goes for amending your code. Any code amendment specific to your boards or commissions has to be done by ordinance. And so it's, again, going to take longer.
So if we do an RFP and get another group to come in and run the golf course, how does an advisory board, if they're doing a contract and they're running the course, how does an advisory board work in that kind of a situation?
Well, that's a great question. And that is something that you would have to consider in the actual charter or ordinance for that board. Right now, I think everyone recognizes that the city's in a unique position where you are, for the first time in a long time, operating the golf course through the municipal entity. If you reflexively amend your code to create a board or a commission, the only way to unring that bell is to then pass another ordinance dissolving that board or commission. So I don't know how a RFP would respond, to a solicitation that says not only do you have to answer to the council, but you have to answer to this board or committee. It might create unintended consequences for you as a council if you sort of marry in haste, repent in leisure, as it were, with respect to the creation of a board or commission. The concept of a committee, which still gives you, the city, the ability to amplify public voices and have participation in an important, and a very sort of hot button issue that members of your public have announced their interest in. might be another avenue to consider, given that you can put a temporal limit on it. You can say this committee will be in existence for a year, or this committee will be in existence up and until the awarding of an RFP for the private operation of our golf course. But you still allow for that public discourse and for that direction. You can create it more quickly because it's only by resolution. So these are the things that I would be weighing if I were in your position. I think it's very helpful that Councilmember Graham has articulated the number of members, what some of their qualifications, should or shouldn't be. And those are all, again, these are set out in code where your resolution needs to address the purpose of the committee, the duration of the committee, the number of committee members, committee procedures that they, whatever they are, what sort of procedure they follow, likely Robert's rules, and other items that you as the council require to be articulated in that ordinance. And so that would be something, again, that would be developed by your clerk, either with or without the input of legal counsel at their request.
Councilwoman Mosier.
So if I'm understanding correctly, Mayor Cooper, your idea was to have a subcommittee under Parks and Rec, and then that's where this would fall in place, where we could set the limitations and the duration from now until the RFP. I'm in favor of setting forth the 3-2 mix of for an advisory committee underneath Parks and Rec, and I think that would be very serving to our community and let their voices be heard.
Yes, ma'am.
For our attorney, the way the code reads, is there any difference between what the committee and what a board could do as far as authority or scope of their purpose?
Well, with respect to the scope of purpose, I think that would be up to the council to set out in a committee. I keep on saying charter. I'm sort of using that interchangeably with the term resolution. Sorry, just let me toggle back to the board commission section of your code really quickly, because it is a good question. And I think that you could, if the desire was to have the committee be able to make recommendations to the council for action on the golf course, I would suggest articulating that in a resolution along the lines of, makes recommendations to the council through the Parks and Rec Advisory Board, or giving them an alternative route up to the council. Appears in front of the council upon invitation of the council to, report on meetings, et cetera, whatnot. I'm looking right now, sorry that I don't have your code memorized off the top of my head, but as far as the authorities go, your commissions and boards, take action and you view those as recommendations, and you still have authority as council to pass or to not pass. So I would imagine that you would want to at least provide the opportunity for the Parks and Rec board or council to be aware of or weigh in on committee recommendations. But in light of the fact that, the golf course season is short, and if there are things you want to set out in the charter that the committee members, feel are urgent matters that must be brought to the attention of the council, you could certainly do that. But, also I think it's important for the council to take a step back and be aware that there are certain things that committee members might be concerned about that are very well within the provenance of your community development department, right? And those are concerns or issues that might be best flagged or communicated between the committee and between directors and other employees. So the analogy of marrying in haste and repenting in leisure, I think is, it's a good idea to sort of just consider some of the dynamics of how that committee would operate in light of the prior few months of dynamics that the council has had an opportunity to observe and be involved in.
Yeah, I think it's similar to any of the other boards and commissions that we have. They are advisory only, no action. Whatever they would like to have done, has to come before the council. And I would see this would be the same. And if it went through the P&Z, it would actually go through you know, their executive director and or the community development superintendent, and then come back to us, so.
Can I
Yes,
voice
ma'am.
just one more thing,
Yeah.
sir? I guess just share where I'm at on this currently is I guess I do have some concerns about that we don't know, like, yeah, are we putting out an RFP for next year? If so, by the time we get an advisory board up or commission or, you know, committee up and running, what does that look like? The release of obligations still kind of in the works. So I think if we're going to craft something, yeah, we'd want to be really careful about that, how we structured that exactly so that we could dismantle it quickly, I guess, if needed. But yeah, I guess I'm kind of wondering at this, I mean, we're in June, essentially, by the time we get an advisory committee up and running, are we almost already on to next year? I don't know. So those are my concerns.
Yes, ma'am.
So, one last thing that I just want to, I don't know, bring up as far as like spitballing what the purpose of this committee would be. I think that one ongoing purpose of the committee, even if things go out to RFP, is that release of obligation, is having a specific voice from the public as far as this advisory committee goes that can get public comment and information together specifically for the comprehensive plan and the issues surrounding that, where I think that'll help consolidate some of those really direct concerns that the community has brought up. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something that goes away if and when there's an RFP that comes out for it, because the golf course is going to continue to have a lot of public input and need a lot of public input regarding the FAA release of obligation and airport use. So I think that's something just also to consider.
The concern about that is you don't want to cross over the other advisory board. You know, that you can't have one saying one thing and one saying the other thing. So that would be a concern that we have to, you know, at this point, I think we want to get them strictly associated with what's going on with the golf course today. How do we make it better? And then as things progress, then we can potentially add something to that. But I would see that the release of obligation, all that stuff stays within the airport advisory board, and then whatever has to do with golf course, then we move forward with that one. Anything else? Need a motion to come out of committee of the whole.
I move to exit committee of the whole. Committee of the whole.
Second. Clerk, Madam Clerk.
Deputy Mayor Alcantara,
Yes.
Councilmember Allen,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosier,
Yes.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Councilmember Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Collins,
Yes.
Mayor Cooper.
Yes,
It is unanimous and approved. We're out of committee of the whole at 8:31.
thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I would like to make a motion for council support to direct the city clerk and to work on drafting a resolution to form a golf course advisory committee consisting of 5 persons total, 3 of which as residents of the city of Palmer, 2 as non-residents, to be under the Parks and Recreation Board, and work with the applicable directors for, I guess, figuring out what the writing up the purpose and legal counsel is.
I second that.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate that motion and certainly vote for it, but under the Parks and Rec Board, I mean, so they have another layer between them and us? Is that the?
I think that in forming it under Parks and Rec, as Councilmember Mosier had brought up, it will, I think as an advisory board, it'll keep, or I'm sorry, as an advisory committee, that it could give another step, but I guess I would amend my motion to direct the city clerk to build into the verbiage that the advisory committee has, I guess, some sort of way of contacting the city directors, reporting directly to city directors and to the city council upon our request. That way there isn't necessarily that extra step if that advisory board is not meeting. Does that make sense?
So what I get you saying is that you want to establish a 5-person committee underneath the Parks and Rec Advisory Board with the ability to go directly to the Community Development Director if need be, and therefore could come directly to the council at that point, and not have to go through Parks and Rec all the time.
Yes.
Got it? Kind of?
Kind of.
Yeah,
My-
we could work that out.
One of my concerns is code doesn't, there's no part of code to direct me for a subcommittee that I'm finding. And then also, if we're gonna have a subcommittee that can come directly to the council, why don't we just have an advisory committee on its own? I guess is my.
I withdraw that section of my motion.
Sorry, did you want to restate your motion just as a 5-member committee?
I'll try it again.
And under 2.09?
Yes, 5-member committee under 2.09 consisting of 3 city residents, 2 or potentially 2 non-city residents. And I would appreciate additional input from my fellow council members, because I know I'm missing something that we had talked about, and I had wrote it down, but I think that's everything.
I'll second that motion because I think you got it.
We got Graham and Mosier. I have Graham made the motion, Mosier already seconded it. We're good with Alcantara also. So what I can do is I can start on the resolution following the 2.09.010, and I think I have what I need. And then also, when I bring it to council, next council meeting, you can always make amendments as you would like to. It's not set in stone. So I don't know if that helps or not, but,
Yes.
and I will work with legal counsel to get that framework going, if that helps.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So with the motion on the floor, my question is should we add a duration for up to 1 year?
I don't know if we need to have a duration, but we could have a statement in there that says, that it will be in existence until, for example, an RFP or the city no longer operates and runs the golf course.
I would like to add that to my motion.
And I will second that.
For 1 year?
No,
Until
until the city no longer operates.
I'm sure legal counsel can legally use that.
Right.
We'll make it sound complicated.
Yeah, exactly. Any other discussion on that? Madam Clerk?
Hold on. Okay. She's so comprehensive.
So the motion is 5-person committee directly to the council, 3 city residents, 2 non-city residents, for the duration of as long as the city runs the golf course.
Deputy Mayor Alcantara.
Yes.
Councilmember Allen.
Yes.
Councilmember Carrington.
Yes.
Collins. Sorry, Councilmember Collins.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
Yes.
Councilmember Mosier.
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes.
It is unanimous and approved.
Thank you. Now, moving on to council member comments. I want to shake it up. We'll start with our deputy mayor this time.
Right on. Going alphabetically again. Wait, are we? Yeah, we're still going alphabetically. Appreciate that, Mr. Mayor. And Don't get offended when I leave right after my comments. No, I'm playing. Thanks everybody for showing up today. Really appreciate it. A lot of good input. I want to thank Palmer Museum of History and Art. A great presentation as always, and it's a great board over there. I look forward to the Juneteenth celebrations that Mr. Jackson brought forward. And I wanted to thank the council for that little extra infusion for Hatcher Pass Avalanche Center. I'm getting a little long in the tooth to shred Hatcher Pass anymore, but I've known, unfortunately, a few folks that have either perished up there or have broken their necks and have other things that have happened. And I think education is so important, and I really appreciate Tim and the others when they go out to the high schools and try to open the eyes of, which is hard to do, of 16, 17, 18, 15-year-olds that are really, really good snowboarders and skiers and don't think they need to know anything about beacons or avalanche awareness. So really appreciate all that. I want to point out that this past Friday, community, the greater Palmer community, kind of lost a legendary figure in Roger Rock Hughes, and the husband of our state senator and state representative Shelley Hughes for over a decade, and also a Vietnam veteran, and you know, married to Shelley for over 45 years. They raised 4 kids here, have a handful of grandkids, I think around 8 to 10 now, and just really unfortunate news to hear that. I wanted to let people know that that celebration of life is scheduled for Sunday, May 31st at 2 p.m. at Northgate Alaska Church, which is 2991 Tate Drive in Wasilla, and just pay respects for really a solid guy and a solid member of the greater Palmer community. And I really am happy with what transpired tonight. I think all the conversation was valid, and really appreciate Councilmember Graham especially making the motions and kind of carrying this thing forward. I think it's going to help to have an advisory committee of passionate folks, both inside and outside the city, to kind of help us succeed, and if we can succeed, help us see what the next step is, the next RFP or the next move to try to get Palmer Golf Course, which has been fantastic for 35 years, to stay fantastic for another 35. So hope you all have a great couple of weeks. Better weather is coming, I promise, and I'll look forward to, we're really sweating in here on June 9th when we show up and it's 70 degrees out. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Councilman Allen.
I just wanted to thank the acting city manager for recognizing the flags. I'm actually the guy that hung all those flags last week. And I do that on behalf of the Palmer Rotary Club. And so I want to use that as a little chance to say to any local businesses that are interested in having us hang out flags in front of their business, please contact the Palmer Rotary Club. We'd be happy to do that. And then the other thing, I also attended the grand opening of the Palmer Food Bank and was very impressed. Got a tour from the manager, and I've just, you know, that was a long needed upgrade. I used to volunteer at the old food bank for a long time, and boy, that needed to be replaced many years ago. So this is a good thing for our city, and I'm glad to see it. Thanks.
Your turn.
Me next. Well, the thing that struck me tonight is just the number of people who put so much time and energy into our committee, the different groups that were represented here, and organizations and those that have been referenced, and our mayor as well. I know, you know, some folks are getting, yes, paid nominally for what they do, but not paid anywhere close to the amount of time and effort and passion they put in to what they're doing. So I'd just like to thank everybody for what you do for Palmer, and hope that we can all follow your example and do a little more when the opportunity presents itself. Thank you.
Councilwoman Graham.
She's next.
No, I'm not doing it. Yeah. I decided to pick you.
I tried. Done a lot of talking, and I appreciate everybody's patience while I kind of muddle through, like, getting the word vomit out. in a way that makes sense to other people, so we can continue these conversations moving forward. So I'm really glad about that. I'm pretty excited that we were able to have such a, I think it was a really constructive conversation during Committee of the Whole, and I appreciate everybody's work on that. I appreciate the city clerk's upcoming work on that to get it ready for the next city council meeting. I'm glad to hear that PPD is going to be looking at the DUI and click it or ticket grants. I know that the reporting requirements for those grants can be a lot on the back end, but I think that it's really beneficial to the citizens of Palmer, especially during fair time when I know that DUI, there are significantly more DUIs on the road, especially in and around Palmer during that time. So it's good to hear that we're going to have additional enforcement for that. Otherwise, I am looking forward to the library groundbreaking on Saturday at 3 p.m. starting at the Palmer Train Depot. Oh, it's been a day. And I just appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you, guys.
Councilwoman, what was your?
So I would like to thank everyone for a great committee of the whole. I think we accomplished a lot and talked it through, which was very nice. I want to thank Jude for being here as our acting city manager. And I also want to thank Benji and Loretta for the work that they do. But also with the golf course, I do want to say that we did get a very disturbing email this last week. And if you see something that doesn't look right, doesn't smell right, please call management. That's all I ask. As council members, we're not here to referee the bad behavior on the golf course. We know it's passionate, so I've served many times on at Elmendorf, and I've seen golf clubs go down the runway because they were mad. They hit a mulligan, so to speak. But with Andre in the Martin Luther King Day on Juneteenth, I shared with him a little while ago, my father-in-law was stationed up here with the Army Air Corps in 1940 to 1942, and he actually got to watch the start of the Alaska Highway being built. So on our end here, when he was here. So we have roots going clear back to the 1940s and lots of love for Alaska. And that's all my comments.
Yes, ma'am.
I also went to the food bank and for their grand opening, and it is an amazing building and an amazing facility. And yes, it has restrooms and a waiting room for people, which is really amazing. It was a real great grand opening. They had just really good food at the food bank, and it was a really good celebration. And we noticed the flags to downtown Palmer, and thank you. We appreciate that. I really like that that the museum and the art council, they're doing this art. What was it called?
Art.
That's it. That's the right one. You're correct. Yes, and that collaboration is just really amazing. What you guys are doing over there at the museum is pretty awesome. I pop in there from time to time, and look forward to the Juneteenth. That's going to be really good. I'm looking forward to the library ribbon cutting, or shoveling. Beginning. I have no words. I can't do math and I can't talk, but it was a great meeting tonight, and we did get a lot done, and it was good conversation, and got questions answered about how to move forward with this committee, and I just appreciate everybody's hard work.
Thank you. Just a couple of comments. Some dates don't forget, May 30th. That's this Saturday, 3 p.m. That's the groundbreaking. June 3rd is the open house for the Glen Highway to Fishhook project. Pretty important. Some of the, I think I mentioned last meeting, some of the comments are that they want to potentially close Eagle Street, which is a little concern to me, and then open up Dolphin. So that's an opportunity to get up and talk to those folks about that. And then, like I said, I will be meeting with the Municipal Planning Organization tomorrow with the Deputy Commissioner talking about our section of Arctic. Obviously, there's some things going on there that we need to be really concerned about. And then June 4th is a ribbon cutting at the Palmer Brewery. And other than that, I have nothing else. We are adjourned 8:48.